Hey, good day, good day, good day, everybody. How we doing? You know what? Thank you for joining me. I'm live, Brian Glaze Gibbs. I'm going more live than ever now. Here it is right now. I got a legend with me, an OG. And right now is, man, I watch now and I be seeing some of these episodes on, I'm saying, Power Book 3, Raising Canaan, and everybody's tried to, reincarnate and bring back certain things about the legendary low life. So right now, I got my man, Thristin Howl the third.
Peace, 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 people.
So Thristin, how you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing well, man. As you've seen, I just finished sunbathing and all that, so I'm getting my vitamin D on, and just trying to keep myself in shape and preserve my youth and things like that, and be happy in life, man.
And you know what, man? Honestly speaking, when you sit back and you think about the environment and the atmosphere, that concrete jungle that we come from, and how we learn to appreciate peace, how we learn to appreciate tranquility. You talk about you sunbathing out in the backyard, relaxing, taking it easy right now. With growing up in Brownsville, you know what? When you think 1,000 years later, you be out there in your backyard sunbathing.
Yeah, I mean, all of it comes with the age and maturity, because even at a younger age, growing up in Brownsville, you wouldn't consider being someplace in peace and tranquility. You want to be in the middle of the action. And, at the younger age, you would call all of this corny, because you want the action. You need your name to ring. You need to be involved, but you have to experience all the stuff like we have experienced in order to know, how to appreciate this.
You said a mouthful, man. You use that terminology, corny. Like right now, where it's like, because once again, nobody want to be corny. Nobody want to be a sucker. Nobody, right now, where everybody back then was fronting. So to me, even when you use that terminology, it's like, you know what? Sometimes you have to go through growing pain. Sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. It's like some of the things that we didn't want no part of, or we didn't want to be associated with, the peace, calm, walking the right path. Saying respect, love, honor. We didn't want no part of that because we didn't know no better. Now we get wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Now I embrace tranquility. I can't stand drama. I can't stand to get into an argument. So what I do everything in my willpower to have peace. I could be right, but to prevent an argument, yeah, you're right. Just keep it moving, man.
Yeah, I mean, consequences, I believe, have been my main teacher. So suffering all the consequences for my actions and things in the past are what really got to teach me the difference between appreciating the tranquility and the peace, or wanting to be involved in the drama at all times, to get the adrenaline rush and things like that. But I give a lot of credit to consequences, and most people who don't suffer consequences, they never actually learn the difference. So usually they wind up suffering a greater consequence if you don't get to be put into certain things that actually help you grow and teach you, especially coming from Brownsville and East New York and like that. It's a different jungle from the rest of the world.
You know what? Even as I'm listening to the words that are coming out of your mouth, and you know what? Without no test, there's no testimony.
Yes.
Nothing. Right now, without no lesson, you can't learn. So you have to have life lesson, life experience. The trials, the tribulation, or whatever. You know what? Tell me about your humble upbringing, man.
I'm from Brownsville, man. I'm from Marcus Garvey Village in Brownsville. I was born in Far Rockaway.
Okay.
In Far Rockaway, Queens. That's where my family was living at the time. Most of my family came from East New York and Bushwick, but everybody migrated to Far Rock, so I was born there. Maybe the first 9-10 years of my life I spent in Far Rockaway, back and forth from Miami as well. But, I grew up like anybody else in the projects, drug-infested neighborhoods, dysfunctional household, drugs all in my household, people in my family addicted, incarceration, and part of my family tradition, you know. So I was brought up with those understandings, and even to believe that the whole world was like this, not knowing it was actually different throughout the world and different neighborhoods or environments. You know, everywhere I visited, I saw the same things. If I went to other family members' homes, you know, I was just visiting other projects under the same circumstances household. You know, my mother was constantly in and out of prison. Most of my youth I spent growing up visiting her, from Bedford Hills to Rikers Island to, you know, for even after I finished bidding, my mother continued bidding. You know, that was just part of her lifestyle, her upbringing. You know, she's from the gangs of East New York and things like that. So a lot of this stuff was just normal in our lives and in our families and just in the whole upbringing. So, you know, when you don't know no better, you're doing exactly what you're surrounded by. And it took a lot, like I said, the consequences, and then later me becoming an entertainer and things like that, where I actually got to see different and really appreciate it. Like, you know, I always looked at Brownsville, like the project, oh, we got it bad over here. But when I became an entertainer, I traveled to countries that were way worse than, you know, our conditions. So then I started looking at the luxuries we had living in the project when I seen the third world countries. But then to the same extent, I got to visit some countries where there was no homeless people and there was no real poverty rates, and the education system is free. And so is the, you know, the hospitals and things like that. So I got to see a lot of different sides of the spectrum to give me a better understanding of this life. And not everybody has it the same. And, you know, how you make the best of what the cards you're dealt, and, you know, how to make the changes as well.
And see, I like that, because once again, like you say, peer pressure bring about assimilation, because what you see is what you do. But look what you say. Even the fact right now is, like, you know, with the bidding situation, with the situation your mom's bidding, even you stopped bidding, she continued to bid. But what really that had me in art, you know, and right now, don't get me wrong, I have done some things in my life, but it's a lot of things I haven't done. But like you say, when you became an entertainer, when you start entertaining and going from country, different stuff, and you start seeing things for yourself. And to me, first of all, shout out. Because once again, a lot of times people do not understand. You know what? In order for you to travel and to be an entertainer, to be a rapper, you know, 9 out of 10, you got to have, you know, right now, quote unquote, or how it used to be, a major label backing you. But once again, at this present time, you backing yourself. You putting your money on you. Because once again, here it is. If you don't need, don't worry about it. I believe in me. I believe in Thristin Howl III. I believe I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. So right now, it's even as you embarking and you became an entertainer, now you travel around the world and you start seeing these third world countries, and we think we got it bad. It's like right now, living in Brownsville, living in Cyprus, is like living in, you know, the Marriott. You know what I'm saying? Living in that, you know, the Ritz-Carlton. Because once again, it's the little things that you learn to appreciate, man.
Yeah, and I appreciate them all, man. You know, especially when you're doing them bids and you see how much you lack and how much you lose. That's when you really appreciate the smallest things. You know, a meal at a table with your family, and just, you know, the presence of certain individuals in your life when you put in such circumstances, man. It really molds you in mad different ways. You know, you could be the strongest, toughest dude and be in prison, but inside you still are hurting. You know what I mean? Where nobody might not notice, but deep down inside, you know the things that upset you and bother you. And it could be simple as, wow, I can't get in touch with my kids while I'm here. I can't call them up, or I'm going through differences with their mother. Or I've seen, you know, dudes' mothers pass away while we're bidding and things. And the way this disrupts people's lives. But these are also the things that get to mold you and bring about that change, man. Some of the greatest and most harsh situations in life have given me the opportunity to better myself in so many ways. And that's crazy, but it's the truth, you know?
Pain, man. Ain't no pain, no gain. Like, you know, like
no
something
struggle, no strength.
It's just something that you say as I'm bouncing, as I'm listening to you, being away. I lost my mother. And you know what? When I lost my mother, I'm in a hole, under investigation, locked down. So here it is right now. When I was able to find out my mother passed, man, you talking about cry. I cried like a baby, man. I couldn't stop crying. I didn't have no family member hugging me, talking about it's going to be all right. You know, I had very little asset to the phone. So I had to cope and deal with it on my own. But not only that, man, it's like, imagine being in a jail cell, and trying to find out what the heck is going on and everything like that. And you crying because my mother was my mother, my father, my big sister, my best friend. So when I lost her, it was like something that came over me. Like, I know how I feel, and I know how that pain, how I feel. Now I got to do some revelation. I got to do some soul searching. So to me, I'm looking at the pain that I feel. Now I got to go back. Well, what about the people, their family, that you're responsible for taking their loved one? So here it is. If you feel that way, imagine what
pain you gave them,
inflicted upon them. And see, right now was a wake-up call. Because until that pain hit you upside your head, guess what? You can't relate. So I'm talking about right now, you don't have friends or certain people die and you cry, but it's nothing like somebody that gave you life, that been there from the beginning of time, that every time I was in and out of Rikers Island, bailing me out, get me lawyers and doing different things.
That's the only one that's there.
Anytime I went through something, don't worry about it, it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
So now that is gone.
Yeah.
Now I can't even go and pay that final respect to the woman I love more than life itself. So when you sit back and you think about it, you're right, man. Pain, that's changed me. That's why when I got out, man, and I just celebrate 25 years, I told people I'm not going back. The U.S. Marshal and the probation officer gave me 45 to 90 days. He'd be back. Like I said, I just celebrate 25 years because I refuse to let my late mom teaching, upbringing, love and continue to be in vain, man. Yeah. So that's what I say, man. But like I told you, brother, shout out, man. Hey, let me ask you a question, man. Even with y'all guys, man, tell me, how did you are the founder, you know what I'm saying, of the, the legendary Low Life. How did that came about, man? Because you see it, and don't get me wrong, when I used to see it, I didn't know what it was. And then when you start understanding it, everybody polo down. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'm one of the founders. There's several of us that came together. I'm the originator of the name Low Lives and things like that. Some that started in the 80s. Deuce from Crown Heights, Deuce from Brownsville, Deuce from Brown. Low Lives to me was born on the Deuce. Because that's where we used to really gather and come together. And that's where Low Life started making their presence felt. Everybody was in Crown Heights doing their thing, taking money or boosting. The same with Brownsville. But on the Deuce is where it really gave birth, because this is where you got to really establish and show who you are to the rest of the neighborhoods and the rest of the boroughs. And you know how the Deuce was. Okay. So
for those that's out there listening, if they don't understand, I know what it is. What is the Deuce, man?
The Deuce is Times Square, 42nd Street in Manhattan, where all the lights and the big billboards and where you see where Disney actually took over at a point and made it all beautiful. But the Deuce had to be one of the grimiest spots in history, in the history of New York City. One of the most drug-infested, crime happening, prostitution, peep shows, karate. That's where the karate movies was on display every week. And that's where you met girls from all over New York City and New Jersey and Long Island and upstate. That's where all the urban areas came to, for the movies and for dinners and dates. So, the Deuce was a big thing, man, in my life. I started going to the Deuce with my uncles as a little kid and seeing how the rules were. Like I would go as a little kid with my uncle, and no matter when we went to the Deuce, my uncle stabbing somebody or he having a fight or he getting it popping while he's on the Deuce. So I learned those rules at a very young age. Is that it's not no fantasy island place you're going to. When you go up here, you're going to be seen and you're going to make sure you respect it at the same time. So I learned that just rocking with my uncles, man, at an early age. But the Deuce was definitely a big part of my life and Low Life's history. Establishing, as far as they would say now, this was our Instagram and all of that back then, because that's where we went and took all our classical pictures and with all the backdrops, with all the photographers. Yeah. There were several walls everywhere with photographers from everywhere, with all the designer backdrops, 10, 20 in a row and things like that. So this is a place where we really made our home, man.
Yeah. And you know what, man? You brought back so many memories, man. Like, hey, I just asked you, man. I didn't expect you. I'm like, damn, man. Like, because you're so real. People on any and everything went down on 42nd Street.
Yeah. Went down.
You name it. It's right now. Even when the ball dropped, you had so many people used to come.
Yo, that was my spot.
Come on,
man. Like for the New Year's, we went from Brownsville. We go to the ball drop to take money.
Come on,
because there's so many crowds. There's so much crowd. Yo, if you get caught, you's a fool. There's too much. You could dip through everything, So that was a big tradition from Brownsville, going to the ball drop and just hitting pockets and robbing and, not to glorify it, but this was the upbringing and this was, from our environment. And this was the norm because if being from Brownsville, East New York, if you're not robbing, you the one getting robbed. That's how it was usually going down. And trust me, I've been robbed. I ain't going to sit here like, it ain't happened. Like, for me, it's like you're not a real thief unless you've been stole from. You're not a shooter unless you've been shot. You have to know both sides of the fence to really truly understand it. And you got to have been through it, especially if you're doing it. There's no way you're going to get around it. You stabbing people, you cutting people on Rikers Island, and guess what? Your turn will come. And it always happens.
Hey, Thristin, I appreciate that, man, because once again, your honesty. Because you got a lot of people like go on these platforms and act like nothing ever happened to them, that they, I went through everywhere I went. I used to go all over the 5 boroughs with all my jewelry. Nobody messed with me. I went through Rikers Island. Nobody never, you know what? I went to Rikers Island. I got jumped. I got beat up. I got robbed. I got robbed over there, Notion Avenue, you know what I'm saying? On the train, I got robbed over there coming from Delancey Street. Cats coming out with that double barrel shotgun, and right there on Delancey Street.
The LES, once you bought that sheepskin, they coming forward.
But see, people don't understand it happens. So people don't understand, like, what don't make you break you. It's like right now, what you gonna do? I got a shotgun in my face. What I supposed to do? Oh, shoot me? Yeah, your wish is my command. But the difference is to admit to things happen. But everybody want to act like, listen,
never happened to them.
Man, it's nothing never happened to me. And to me, regardless of what, anybody that went through Rikers Island, chances are they had some type of form or took another form of loss. It's very rare. It's only a very percentage. And I say that percentage like less than 5%.
Yeah,
people can actually say that. But other than that, right now, all these other individuals want to get along and say nothing never happened to me. I went to Rikers Island. Like I said,
you wasn't standing up enough.
Roll the tape.
Wasn't standing up enough.
Roll the tape or whatever. You probably in the back hiding, dirty up on your shoes and all this other crazy stuff or whatever.
Because if you want to stand out, because look, Rikers Island was just another place where when you from the hood, you want to make sure they know your name and those bells ring home. I saw a son on the island. He living, he doing it right. He holding it down. He got the phone. He had the store, all of that. So it's like, this is part of where we come from. It's our tradition. Like, as sad as it may sound, but it's the honest truth to me when I always say that. I always looked at jail as the college of the projects. Because it advanced you in all the things you were learning back in the project, because now you meeting the criminals and the killers from everywhere, not just your block. So you either this is where you test it against those same people to see if you really built like that. Oh, you're gonna wear that chain in the yard? So we're gonna see. You're gonna hold that phone down? Yeah, you probably could do it on your block, but now you got to do it with all these other people who ain't grow up with you, and mentally they're not afraid of you. Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's like now you really that's the true gladiator school. And it ain't all foul business like people think it is, man. There's just as many righteous people locked up that are going to give you the right lessons you know, and try to help guide you the right way more than just the negative. It's an equal balance of both. And a lot of people don't never say that part of being locked up. Some of the wisest brothers I ever met who helped put me on a righteous path, I met in jail. And the wisdom that they passed to me and things like that. And the way they would challenge me mentally, you know, from being a young brute and all that, being like, oh, you a tough guy. All right, let me see if you can read this book. Little things like that made a difference, man, into molding me into who I am today.
And you know what? Once again, like I say, without no test, there's no testimony. And you're right. When people come into our life, man, when you out there, you young, you wild. And I can remember when I went away at 17. And right now I like 18, 19, and I was in Fishkill. I left like, you know, Elmira to Katsaki to Fishkill. And it was an old timer. His last name was Weeks. You know, if he's still alive, hey, man, shout out to Weeks. Weeks used to always talk trash to me. He was an older guy, and he used to make leather handbag, leather belt with your name on it or whatever. You know, back then we buy it, send it home to the family, or you wear it for yourself. But anyway, he's always say, yo, man, Glaze, when you get back out there, yo, young boys, they're gonna blow your head off. They're gonna kill you. And I'm like, we going at it. I said, no, I'm not. I said, they ain't gonna get me. He said, you know, right now, he said, why are they going to get you? I said, because I'm going to get them before they get me. Because once again, man, when you out there, you ain't going to just let nobody come up and do it. If you can protect yourself, it's like being in that boxing ring. Protect yourself at all times. So I suppose, and don't get me wrong, Thristin, if I see danger, I'm not, man, listen, I'm hauling, I'm being like Ricochet Rabbit, pew, 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 pew. That's me. I'm not one of those guys like you got the whole army and you know they coming for you. Okay, what y'all going to do? Get the heck out of here, man. Use your common sense, man. Use the intelligence that you do have, man.
That's today's way of thinking, because there was a time everybody would have been like, everybody felt invincible. Like, you know what? I'm standing right here. And it is going down.
Hey, see, look, like I tell you right now, when I know the odds was against me, I catch you later. Because once again, like I said, I done been shot at numerous times. Never got hit. Thank God. God must be new. If I'd have got shot in my toe and my finger would have been over with, man. So those are things like, hey, if I'm not right, you got, okay, I'll catch you another day, man. So that's it, man. But like I said, I like the fact that you able to be, like I say, completely honest, and you know, because that's what life is all about. So right now is, you know, like you say, y'all guys, you know, it was a bunch of y'all guys. You was one of the founders. So right now it's a bunch of y'all met on a Deuce. So people don't understand. Everybody from all over came to the Deuce. And right now is like, how did y'all came up with the name?
Well, the name Low Life, you know, the model is money, hoes, and clothes, man. You know, that's the whole entire model the whole hip hop industry took. But that's Low Life's model from '88. We created that model, and you know, it got used on every famous record you could imagine. But so you know, women was always a big part of it, and you know, being fly, well, you can't be fly for nothing. You got to utilize it. So a lot of times going to the Deuce was get the women as well. You know, all the fly girls was up there everywhere. So, you know, I got caught by a girl after I got her phone number and, you know, turned the block. I'm getting another number. I was on my getting numbers all night. You know, we was competing to see how many numbers you coming home with. That was back when you writing the number down on a piece of paper and all of that. So a girl caught me getting a phone number from another girl after, you know, she gave me her number. So she called me a low life. You a low life. So it kind of stuck in my head because, you know, at the time my mentality was, you know, I do wear low every day. So it's kind of my life. So the low life thing just stuck. And I mean, when it stuck like that, we all just accepted it. And dudes from both sides, from Crown Heights and from Brownsville, was like, the name just transitioned everybody, because before that, you know, it was Ralphie's Kids, it was United Shoplifters, and everybody embraced the name, whether they was in jail or someplace else or wasn't around. Everybody took the name on and just accepted it, and that's what it became. And that's how the whole migration happened, you know, from all these sides, and for us becoming low lives, you know.
And even with that being said, like I told you, man, honestly speaking, recently, you know, I'm talking about from season 1 on Power Book, I'm saying 3, Raising Canaan, Whereas, like, one of the character Jukebox, I'm saying, supposed to be Canaan cousin, was
Mhm.
part of the represent of the low life, because once again, it is show you how history. Some people
Mhm.
don't understand. You can't escape history. So regardless of what, and not probably being portrayed like it was, but the mere mention of it, it's like, to me, it speaks volume, because once again, y'all set the tone. But even with that being
Yeah,
said,
I love the mention of it because so many people contacted me due to the fact, right?
mhm,
And even where they had a scene where, they're robbing the truck for the
yeah,
polo, and then there's
mhm,
a Puerto Rican guy doing the
yeah,
robbing and the
yeah,
knocking out of the
yeah,
security guards, and
yeah.
that was, that was my role. That was what I was known for. So, but many people hit me up like, "Yo, you ain't mad about that, or you mad?" And I'm like, "Why should I be? They warming it up for us." I respect what's going on. I want the low life story, my story, and all that to be no different than Al Capone's story, where it's mentioned in 100 movies and
Mhm.
50 different series. You don't want to be limited to just your production of your story. You want to be tapped into history in that way. So I was happy to see our inclusion into the Raising Canaan and all that. And shout out my low life brothers who actually supplied the wardrobe for the Raising Canaan situation.
Oh, see, look, bro, and people don't understand how everything go hand in hand, man. And even right now, like I say, with you, right now, as being an entertainer, it's like, how hard is that being independent, man?
I mean, it depends on your work ethic.
Okay.
Because even before I took it on full fledged, I'm a dude who I got 3 jobs, and 2 of them are on call. 1 is permanent. So, I work so much for everybody else that I learned the structure of how business is supposed to happen or how it's supposed to function. So, when my mother passed away is when I made the decision to fully, embark on this journey of being an entertainer and taking it seriously and leaving everything else alone. So it's a lot of hard work, man. Even being a 50-something-year-old rapper is probably even harder to be consistent and relevant and all that. But all it takes is work, and you gotta love it. If you love it, it's not work. So for me, it's just natural. It's part of my life. So when I get up every day and I'm in pursuit of what I want to be doing or what I want to be attacking and all that, it's stuff I actually enjoy. So whether I'm neglected or deprived from certain situations, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to continue seeking out more opportunities and continue to push myself as the brand. And then so it's going to always pan out because of that work ethic. I'm going to get up every day and make no excuses and accept and won't accept no from anyone. I'm going to make it happen. It's the same attitude you had being on the street. You out there taking it, you ain't trying to hear it. I remember my man Hawk called me and be like, "Yo, it's a rainy day today, son." He called me, "You know what got to go down? You got to go hit some pockets. It's raining. The opportunity is there. The police can't see you through the crowd or through the clouds and all that. So you just got to get up and make it happen, man." It's like I said, the same attitude from when I was just on the streets. There's no excuses. I'm coming back with it.
Okay. Hey, quick question, man. Tell me about the global campaign with Ralph Lauren.
The global campaign with Ralph Lauren was based around the Polo Shirt book. It's a book that explains how the polo shirt and the brand is a lifestyle. Like they say, it was never about a shirt. It's about a lifestyle. Well, I believe that, the company considered me somebody who actually represents that more than almost anyone out there, because I basically brought them into our world of our lifestyle that we live religiously. So, they included me within the whole ad campaign and within the book, where I have several pages in the book. And, I'm so proud of it because it wasn't just me. I'm included there with my son beside me. So, I'm very grateful to the company and for their acknowledgement of just our whole culture of low life and everything else. But it's definitely a big stepping stone, man, for me, to be included and just to have their cosign at this day and age and this time of my life, man. So something I'm proud of, man.
And you know what? And see, that's the difference when you are recognized, when you base right now is it's branded. You win these brands. Like, this is us. We polo down. We from the head to the toe. So once again, when you got it, despite, like, look how something like you took a negative and turned to a positive. And they was able to recognize that. And that's what this is all about. Like, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I act as a child, did child. But when I became a man, I put away all childish things. Now look how you able to basically, like you said right now, go through the trial and tribulation. You know what I'm saying? From Far Rockaway to Brownsville, you know what I'm saying, to prison, to these third world country, being an entertainer, to where you at right now. And to me, like right now, hats off. Because there's a lot of us didn't survive. Or even those that did survive is still stuck. They still stuck.
And they stuck here. That's what matters the most.
That hurt.
That was the biggest thing, the changing of my mentality. And I can't just credit myself for that. There's so many brothers that help with that assistance and programs. Because being locked up, I utilized every program they threw at me, even down to every alternative violence program you could name, to where I didn't just attend the programs, I participated. I participated to the extent of when I would graduate the programs, they would hire me to facilitate them. And this helped further, my knowledge and my transition. Even coming home from prison on my last bit, they stuck me in a work release facility where I had 6 months to go home. And, when I went to the board, they hit me with 2 more years. So I'm on the streets basically doing time. Even when I got hit with the 2 more years, I already had a job. So I was able to remain on the streets and finish those 2 more years in the program. But that helped me to walk a straight line. That helped me being a facilitator. I facilitated for the American Foundation for Social Change, which is Jim Brown's program. So just being a part of that and becoming a facilitator to other inmates, that really helped mold me and stay on that path and force me to walk a straight line once I was home. But I wasn't just doing it because I'm on the program and I'm in prison. I was doing it because that's what I believed in at that point. That was in my mind and my heart to make that change.
And look how important it is, like you say right now, is to be a part of something. And then right now, once you complete the program, they made you a part of it. Here, man, we want you to be a part of this or whatever. We want you to be a facilitator. And to me, it's like right now where it's like, it's easy for me to be a part of something that I believe in, that I know that it worked, that I know that it helped. And it's no different, like you said right now, being in a halfway house, then turn around getting hit with 2 more years, but you had a job. So with that job in itself, what it did is taught you working habit. It taught you work ethic. And a lot of times, like, and the only reason I like that, because when I was away, when I went away, like I said right now, I was situated. I was financially situated. And I was dealing with this young lady at the time. And she like, look, you do not know what the future is going to hold. You need to develop working ethic, and a working habit. You need to know how it is to punch a clock. And you know what? I'm like this. I'm not doing that. I'm not, the different. I'm still Glaze, man. I'm still Eminem. And you know what, man? When you got people that's in your ear and they giving you knowledge, they give you advice, and they doing it with love. And to me, that right there, I start getting up, going to Unicorn, punching a clock.
I remember Unicorn.
Punching a clock. So what I'm saying is it teaches you work ethic, how to be on time, working overtime, in jail. But once again, that whole, like, even every year now, you know what I'm saying? Even I'm out. We done both move on. Every year on her birthday, I give a call. Thank you. First of all, happy birthday. And thank you. Because sometimes you just needed that seed. They say right now, as far as faith, you just need a faith as small of a mustard seed, but you need to plant that seed in order for you to go to that next level.
Yeah.
And look what it is. Like now, like I say, I just celebrate 25 years of freedom. I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have no work ethic, if I didn't have good working habit. And people don't understand that, man. So I commend you, man.
I always had the work ethic, even before being incarcerated and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, I come from a dysfunctional household. I always had to take care of myself from a very young age. So I always knew the importance of having a job and to advance at your place of employment. I never did a job that I didn't want to do. It could have been the wackest, weakest job. I'm going to still do it with excellence to where I'm going to become your boss, your manager, whatever. Even if I was doing crime on my lunch hour and on the weekends, I still was one of those kind of dudes where I knew how to work and I knew to be excellent at my job. So my work ethic was always there, you know, even working in the mess hall up north and all that. The work ethic was there. I mopped the floor with pride. I want to mop it right at that. You know, I don't want to leave smudging. I'm an OCD type of dude. I got to do it right no matter what I'm doing. If I'm into it, I'm doing it right. I'm not just going to sit here and waste my time.
You know, doing it right the first time. You just gave me a flashback when I was in Greenhaven. When I was in Greenhaven and they had me in E Block and I was like the orderly on, I think it was 2 company. So here it is. I'm cleaning up. And you know how you use the shower? You know, you got like 41, 42 guys like on a tier. And I'm looking at the shower, man. It's so
disgusting.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, you're like, damn. So what I did was I went to the CO. His name was Beta. Beta was like one of, the racist CO back then. But anyway, I went to him. So look, give me this, give me this, give me this. So he gave me everything I need. I went up there for like hours with everything, scrubbing, rubbing, doing everything, everything I could possibly do. And right now, man, like at the end of it, man, you got these brothers coming to me, man. Yo, Glaze, man, yo, baby Gibbs, yo, thank you, man. That's an excellent job. What I took that as, to me, that was like equivalent to cleaning an outhouse. So for those of you people that are out there don't know what outhouse is, back in the days, they didn't have toilet bowls, so you had to go in the wood. So that's how I took it. But to me, what it taught me, if I can do that, I can do anything. Because when you start thinking you're too good to do jobs, then you setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah. I mean, I was a dude where, I always had the house gang job on Rikers Island. So I'm always maintaining the bathrooms, sweeping Broadway and mopping the day rooms. And so, like I said, I always did it because I like things to be clean. If you lived in my section in any house on Rikers Island, you already know how it was ran. Everything is decorated. The beds got all the towels. The lockers are decorated with the Newport picture frames that were made and the carved out soaps. So I was always into living comfortably. And even on Rikers Island, everything was polo. Even up north, everything was polo. I've been in facilities where they allowed logos in and all of that. So I even had wall-to-wall carpet in my cubicles. My mother would mail me like 3-4 bathroom throw carpets, and I would lay them all out in the cubicles and have wall to wall. You got to take your shoes off and everything coming in, because this is how, coming from a person who never had anything in a home that didn't even have furniture and things like that. I made any place I ever went into my castle. I made it where even, growing up in New York, about having clubhouses and abandoned buildings and things like that. Even down to that extent, I would do it to the utmost, to make it comfortable. You want to come hang out in my clubhouse. Even if it's in an abandoned building, you got to go up the fire escape and everything. But this is just part of my nature, man, my upbringing.
Hey, you bring some people up to the clubhouse, shit. We staying here, man. This is better than home, man.
And at times it really was, man. Yeah. Like I said, my household was really, I love my moms and everything. I know she loved me, but she had her addictions as well. So I remember there was a point in my house where we have no furniture. There was only a weight bench in my living room.
Wow.
And, I slept on a towel with a shoe for a pillow, a sneaker or something, because the addictions were that real. So nobody was prioritizing what was needed at home. But when I became the man and a man, I was the one who furnished my home. I was the one who took care of everything and made sure everybody looked good, you know, because of being deprived so much. And, you know, living in the hood, in the projects, you bombarded with the jokes. Yeah. So when people came to my house, they made jokes. You know, I ain't have no phone. I ain't have no food. I ain't have no furniture. And that was constantly said. But by the time we became men, then nobody had food, furniture, or phones like me, because now it's my responsibility. I'm not dependent on parents to do it and things like that. I made it happen, but just the pain of not having it and the embarrassment, I made sure that I always had it after that. And it was always on the up nose, like, you're not coming in here laughing about nothing. You're going to respect what you see and the way it's laid out, you know? And I give credit to that, man. Without that, I would have never been the man I am today. I would have never had these habits. You know, that pain was very important.
You know, as I'm listening to you and you expressing that, and you, like you say, the pain, the embarrassment, like, because you know where we come from, they want to rank you out about any and everything. They don't care about nothing, and it's
all day long,
all day, all night long, that you make you want to take somebody's head off or whatever, because it get that bad. But I remember dealing with this young lady years ago, and some of the things that she was telling me, as far as right now, is her living condition. How, you know, her mom's dad got divorced, and then sometime her mom used to run off with another guy and leave her and her brother. And it got so bad that, you know, when it's time to eat, they used to have to pull roaches out of the cereal, you know what I'm saying, to pour milk to survive, to put something in their stomach. But it's like right now is, as she got older, she wound up getting, like, you know, a couple of degrees, got, you know what I'm saying, great job, bunch of property, A1 credit. She say, you know what, based upon what I experienced,
that was her fuel.
And it was like, you know, it was that pain.
That was that inspiration.
You're right. I would never have to go through that again. I would make sure that my kids will have to go through that. And sometime right now, no pain, no gain.
Yeah, right. So exactly. No struggle, no strength.
I can
People who don't struggle, they don't have strength. They don't know what it's like or how to come up. That's like you falling on your ass. You don't know how to stand up. You're not willing to stand up. Most people are just gonna stay there. Like, back to the scenario of not having food at home. It's like, I remember the first time I ever got drunk is because there was no food in my house. There was only a quart of Budweiser in the refrigerator. There's nothing to drink. There's no Kool-Aid. There's no water. I drank that Budweiser because there was nothing else. And, you know, it belonged to my mother, her boyfriend, or whatever the case. But that was the first time I experienced what being drunk was like, because I'm looking at this bottle as a source of food instead of something that's going to get me high or tipsy, you know. But it's like, I'm not mad at none of that. And I even credit my mother so much today for all the hardships, because I see all these kids who grow up with all the conveniences their parents give them. They're the weakest in the world at this point. You know what I mean? I even sometimes feel for my own children because they get so much. So they don't understand what it is to go make it happen. You know? So I try to push them in those routes where you make it happen for yourself. I'm not getting you nothing. Learn how to earn it. Go do this. Because if you don't have that, you're going to suffer later when your parents ain't around. You know, and like I said, I credit my mother so much. I always say the greatest thing my mother ever did for me was nothing, because it made me a go-getter. And I always love her and thank her for that, you know?
You see, people don't understand that, man. You took it as a lesson. And not only that, like you say, you want to be able to teach your kids to be self-sufficient. You want to give them the necessary tools, like give them the fishing rod, give them the bait, give them the line. Like, yo, listen, because once again, you got to be prepared for the unexpected. And a lot of people's not. You know what? Well, let's talk about this, man. What about, you know, from my understanding, your life story is being developed as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's going down, you know. It's a beautiful thing. We got a beautiful partnership, a lot of big name producers and production companies involved. You know, it's basically the low life story based around my life, you know, and my experience as a low life and my upbringing and where I'm from and all that. And I mean, I couldn't be happier right now for how it's going down. You know, I'm an executive producer, so I'm part of.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm part of the entire process of creating it and things like that. So it's just something that, like, all situations and film and all that. It's something that takes time for development, but it's something that the world will be seeing at some point. I don't talk too much about it right now because I'm not a man of coming soon. I'm not one of them dudes. When it's in your face, then I'll be like, then I really truly speak on it all the way.
Yeah. You know what? But based upon this interview and all the information I gather from you right now, I'm in awe because once again, it's right now where it's like I can't wait to see it because I'm saying just from this brief conversation, I can see exactly. Even you got me excited talking about 42nd Street. Like I'm like, man, like wait a minute, you put me right back there, man. Like yo, the Deuce,
Deuce, the train.
The people do not understand that, man. Like, and to me, like, it's a lot of people that's not there anymore. There's a lot of people that we know that
they're
can
gone.
make it, whatever. And those are things that you gotta like, give, count your blessing, thank God, Allah, whatever you believe in. And like you say, I like that as far as right now is, your tribute to your mother, because once again, she's the person that make you.
My mother is a major part of my story because my mother is from the streets only. So she just gave me, whatever she knew at her best, with her love. And she didn't know anything else but the streets and prison. Her education, everything was all of that. So my mother never hesitated to tell me when to do the dirtiness you got to do, And another crazy part is, I went to East New York High School. I went to school where everybody from Cyprus was in my class back in them days and all that. So just going to that school and having to deal with everybody from Cyprus and just the neighborhood itself, getting off of that train at Euclid, it was a real situation.
Okay. See, you know what? And see, that's what I'm like, damn, I know, it's in the high school, and right now it's right there in the conduit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's Transit Tech now, but I'm talking about before it was Transit Tech. When it was East New York Vocational and Technical, it was deadly because we talking the early 80s. It was still gang infested. I'm not talking about, we talking about the outlaw gangs with the denim suits and all that. They was still popping off. The Puerto Rican gangs in East New York. It wasn't no game. Sex boys, all of that.
Yeah, they still around, man, You know what? Listen, another thing, man. Tell me about right now being a Latino trendsetter in Miami and New York, man. I'm saying the best of both worlds, man.
I mean, I'm very proud, man, to be a Puerto Rican, a Latino, even a Latino growing up in Brownsville, where I had very few Puerto Rican friends and things like that. That's what actually made me stand out much more. I was picked out of the crowd most of the time because of that.
Yeah.
Who I am. That's what the girls loved me more because I'm the Puerto Rican with the curly flat top and things like that. But it's prideful, man, because even being an artist and an entertainer, when I see the pride my people show me for what I've represented for us and that flag, even doing, because I do Spanish albums and everything. I do films in Spanglish and bilingual. So I just feel good that my people are proud on the way I've represented for them. And, being an icon within hip hop and fashion, even of the streets and things like that. So more than anything is more how my people make me feel by how they feel, how I represent it for us. And then, I love them for that. And I'm going to keep repping.
And like I say, bro, you definitely represent well, man. And like I told you now, is from years you hear about your guys and different things, and people do not understand. Like, my objective is, when you listen, you hear like, wow, and you see some of the things come back, and I'm saying as far as full circle, man. So even with that being said, man, like, how do it feel to be one of the last Brooklyn OG? Right now in that geographical area that you grew up with, how many people still out there? So what I'm saying is almost like the last man standing. And not only that, you still got your mind. You still able to think. You still got your health. You got your family. So what I'm saying, when you sitting back and look at everything that you've been through, the trials, the tribulation, the pain, the suffering, the loss of your moms and everything else, to in and out of jail, right now becoming your own, like putting your money on yourself, becoming an entertainer. How do it feel to be the last one standing?
Wow, I mean, most of the time I humble myself when I think that is one of the greatest reasons I am so humble at this time, because I feel I've been blessed so much, and I've seen so many gone and so many die, and so many still in prison to this day. So it definitely helped my transition, and I'm not feeling myself at all. I don't get out there, oh yeah, I'm this, I did that. Nah, man, it's about how I'm gonna help the next person as well. How I'm gonna show somebody the right path, because that's what was told to me from the people who actually helped me. They told me all we ask is that you do it in return for someone else. And I never took that for granted. But I go home a lot. I go to Brownsville a lot. I go to my projects a lot. And when I see how, Brownsville is one of the roughest places in this world. And I mean, when I walk through there, I can honestly sit here and say that I've never felt an ounce of hate. I see the pride that the people have for me and the love. Anywhere I go, I walk in the pizza shop, it turns into a party. And just to see so much of that love, and there are many OGs that are still there that have transformed, their mentalities and things like that. They're trying to help the youth. And so there are many more besides myself. And I always let that be known. Okay, I never say I made it out, because it was never a plan to leave. I got kicked out. I got forced out, so I had to reside in other places because, the housing got me out of there.
Okay.
But when I see all my peoples who made those transitions, and I salute and I support wherever I can, just to make sure, and let them know, no matter where I'm at, I still carry Brownsville on my back. I still carry my Puerto Rican flag, and I still do my best to keep things righteously. Like, we speak about jail, we speak about robbery, but I'm not trying to glorify any of that. These are just my experiences that help mold me to who I am, but it's not to glorify any of it. I'm not ashamed of it either. I'm proud to have done all of that and to come out and become who I've became. But like I said, it's because of the people as well who helped mold me, the fans who believed and loved my music. That's why I exist. It's not just for my mentality changing. It's for all those things combined. And like I said, I'm humble because of it. I'm never poking out my chest feeling like I'm better than, or I achieved this and you didn't. And that's definitely not who I am whatsoever, man. I want to see everybody win. I'm always there to try to uplift as much as possible, whoever, man, especially when I see people on the path. I definitely do those talks with the youth, I definitely try to steer people that righteous way, man. Just through my experience. If they heard my story or they believe in me from every set, then when you meet me in person, you're going to see a totally different person than what the media is portraying, because I'm about really walking the righteous path, man, as much as possible, without being hypocritical and without, backsliding and all of that. Music and entertainment, yeah, you get all kind of things from me, but that's entertainment,
Yeah, and getting people to understand the difference. Like I told you, like, no, we don't never, like, even right now, my platform is not about, like, boosting or bragging it. Because I always try to tell people between the age of 14 to 24, I hate the person I once was. I cause havoc. I destroy my community. I destroy people's life, kill people.
Yeah,
I
walked. We crossed paths many times.
And even with that, like I say, when you got time to reflect, and like I told you, when I was away, my mother died. You really got time to reflect. Mm-hmm. And it's like right now is like you can't do it over, because if I could, I would. I'm not seeing that's the difference. Like I regret it. Like, and I'm just being honest with myself. I can't be something that somebody else want me to be. I'm speaking for me. I had a buddy of mine. We was on a run. And even right now and this is right after when that horse collar, they snatch up Cat, they snatch up Pappy from the prison, and they was looking for us. We're in a run. I'm like coming down Atlantic Avenue. Right now, we in the cab. And I look over my man. I said, man, if we had the chance to do this all over again, what would you do, man? My man said he'll do it all over again. I'm saying, man, you out your mind. But see, he wasn't up against all the stuff I was up against. Mm-hmm. He wasn't up against the homicide and the 848 and all the other stuff. So, okay. And you know what? Honestly speaking, he done went away, did time a couple of times, and he's still doing the same thing. So, like I say, I guess, you know, you know yourself better than anybody. When I said it was over, that I quit, I didn't want no part of it. Guess what? I stayed true to that, man. You know, so even with that, like I say, man, thank you for the opportunity to, you know, right now interview you, man. I'm gonna put up some links with the song so people can listen, and you can send me the link to your website or, you know, or your information as far as they can follow you at Instagram or YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, ThristinHowellThird.com. THIRSTIN.
Text that to me because I'm gonna put it all in the link.
It's right there on my name on the title. So it's the same for every social media. You know, it's Victor Thristin Howell de Jesus is my name on Facebook. Thristin Howell the Third on Instagram. So Thristin Howell Third on Twitter. You know, I could text you everything as well, but I usually use the same signature on every platform, so it's not hard to find me. Make sure you check out my YouTube channel. You know, massive film work, man. Massive. I get busy with the film work as well, you know?
Yeah. So, like I say, bro, and whatever I can do on my platform or my voice or whatever, like I said right now, is like, you know, hey, shout out to Cole Rodriguez. Shout
out Cole. Cole, you know, Cole makes it happen, man. We've been making a lot of things happen.
And that's what it's all about. And people do not understand that, man. Like, you know, when people come into your life or whatever, you know, my objective is like, long as people change, long as people like, you know, like I be trying to tell everybody, like, how do you know you change? Yeah, okay. I'm good. I stay away from that nonsense, man. Mm-hmm. I know who I am. And I never try to let nobody bring out the worst in me that I gotta act off emotion instead of intelligent, man. It's not worth it, man. You know, when you done went through hell, you ain't trying to go back, man. And that's the difference, man. Hey, but like I say, man, thank you for blessing the platform, man. Like I say, you got an awesome story. And I can't wait to hear more. And like I say, whatever I can do to help you be where you need to be, like I say right now, I'll be one of the biggest. Yo, check this out. Check that out.
Play that OG stands for Open Grave joint that I sent you. Because that says a lot of what this conversation was about today. Okay. It's about that transition. It's about that, you know, fixing yourself, your mentality, and you know, passing that on to your people around you and making other dudes be accountable for the bull that they be trying to pull off, man. Like, if you haven't made that change and you got a chance to reach this age, then you just an open grave. You just waiting to die, man. You have to help keep things alive. You have to spread that message and things like that. So, you know, that music I sent you, that video, play that for the people. Yep, let the people know that's what it is, because this is where my mentality is right now. And like I said, I don't think I'm better than anyone. I'm not trying to judge anyone. I'm just trying to spread that message, and we all need to spread it on everyone to let them know, man. Especially if you're trying to save your community, because helping other people in your community is going to help your family, whether you realize it or not. When you stop something by uplifting somebody's mentality, that's going to trickle down to your family, because that same wicked mentality can affect your home, and people don't understand that. So, you know, you got to start somewhere, man. When somebody started by helping me, I made sure I helped 1,000 other people and changed their direction. And that's what I'm proud of. I can honestly say I changed many lives just by continuing to be myself, but my mentality was totally different at this point.
And then you can see the growth and development. You know what? Even I'm gonna ask you one more question, Thristin. Like, for example, even with you, like, you know, being out there, you know what I'm saying, in that community, the hip hop, the entertainment, everything. And as of late, you've been seeing a lot of gun violence, death. You know what I'm saying? Right now is how in the hell can, you know what I'm saying, that could be avoided?
That's a hard question, man, because you never could call it. Yeah. Things happen so sporadically, but at the same time, it's like, it's where you choose to place yourself many times is how you avoid things. It's just the places that are attracting you, especially when you are a celebrity. You have to be way more cautious. It's like, it's not being afraid. It's not being paranoid. It's like you see what the temperature is for having this as a career. Take heed of that. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not about being afraid. What matters more to you? To, you know, be with your family for the future, or to be at a social event where, you know, half of the crowd hates you just because of your success and things like that. So you have to really prioritize, what do you want out of life, especially achieving such success, because you automatically become a target for one. And then, you know, a lot of us being from the hood, you still abiding by the rules and trying to hold it down, where ain't nobody gonna play with me, ain't nobody touching me, ain't nobody. A lot of dudes still have that mentality. You gotta just know how to be smart. There's 1,000 things I could say that I won't say. Be smart is the greatest thing I could say. How when you're moving around, be smart about it. Know how to move. Know how to place yourself. Always be prepared for things. Don't just think everything is sweet and everybody love you. It's never the case, especially if you're a familiar face of success.
You know, even right now, I was just thinking about that situation that happened with the Migos on what's to do track. Hold on, I'm trying to think. Take off. Like, even somebody came on a platform. I did a live yesterday, and they was talking about, yo, you know, right now is like, you know, how do you think? You know what I'm saying? Okay, what's the other guy? Offset. How you think he feel or whatever, because he decided to back away from them to spend some time with his family. I said, time out. I said, you guys sit back and think about it, man. Right now is, you know, he look at it. Guess what? He got 2 kids. He got a wife. So sometime right now, that probably is like a blessing in disguise. It's like, look, man.
I mean, he also look at it like that could have been him.
Exactly.
If he didn't make the decision he made.
Thank you, man. Because once again, when you sit back and you look at it, this brother, you can tell he was there, but he didn't want. It seemed like he didn't want to be there. It's like like they say, he was the quietest one. He was in his own little world. But once again, because sometimes we do things not because of us, but my man, my uncle, my brother, let's do this, let's do this. And sometimes we gotta follow our instinct and our gut feeling, man. Y'all go ahead, man. I'm going home. You know, later for what people are gonna think or say. It's already down, which we got gut feeling, we got instinct for a reason. You came from Brownsville, Rockaway, A-Train, CC Loco, going through you see. So when certain things go up, man, later for that, you got to think. You know, when you see that, I'm not going down there, because once again, you have to follow your instinct, man. And man, rest in peace to the guy, man. May so rest in peace and spirit be lifted.
Yeah, rest in peace to all the brothers, man, that you know that lost their lives doing what they do, man. Like I said, I'm for the culture and I'm about the culture. So even though I don't share an opinion ever on the platforms about it, it does affect me.
Yeah.
You know, it does bother me. You know, Old Dirty's death, everybody, man. Like just knowing certain people and seeing these things happen, man.
Yeah.
I love hip hop, man. It's my culture, it's my life, it's my religion. So these are also our prophets within this. So I look at all of them in such way. Yeah?
Hey, my brother, thank you. I appreciate it, man. God bless, man.
Likewise, man.
All right, then. One love, man.
All right. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you, bro.
Peace.